What's up, YouTube? I'm back. This is going to be another video about diamond making at home. Uh, and there's a major announcement in accordance to what I've said so far about diamond making at home for cheap that I have to put forward in this video because I realized this today. And I was pushed into realizing it today because I was pushed out of my comfort zone today, clearly. And it could not uh, it could not occur to me that this was true any other way. So sadly, I mean, it could have, but it not anytime soon without this having happened today that I described. I'm not going to go into what that is, as it's not really important to talk about here, or very important in general. Um, okay, so as you may or may not know, I have said that it's possible to make diamonds without a kiln or a torch. Um, um, I'm pretty sure at one point I talked about how it's possible to, at least in this video, in these set of videos, I've talked about how it's possible to make diamonds by candles and um, however, I did claim that the only way to easily make a diamond for cheap is if you already have a lot of money saved up so that you're not spending a lot. But the reality is, if you don't already have a lot of money saved up, then there is a way to make diamonds for cheap without acquiring any money of any sort. There is one way I described where you could use candles. You could use everlasting candles or non-everlasting candles to heat up your rocks until they become more transparent, until they are a diamond, for the reasons I've gone over. However, as I've also mentioned, you can do the same with a torch. You could torch the rocks to get the same results. However, I personally, I'm pretty sure I've also made the recommendation that if you're gonna do the approach with a torch or a candle, that you have to have something to hold down your rock so that when it shatters from the heat, it does not shatter outward, but rather it shatters inward, so that you don't lose your pieces that you're trying to heat up. However, I realized that there is a way to heat up rocks pretty easily, to the point where they become more transparent, and you do not actually need to have the rocks be at a very high temperature. This whole time, it's actually been a false notion that I've been teaching, that you actually need to have rocks be over 1,000 degrees or hundreds of degrees. This is very far from the case, because the reality is, when rocks become more transparent, it doesn't really depend on the level of temperature at all. It has more to do with where the heat that you're putting in is put into the rock. When you put heat into a solid, heat is just gas form particles. If you put gas form particles into a solid, if you put them in there if you put them in the solid so that they are permanently fixated inside of the solid, then you have permanently changed the anatomy of the solid. I've gone over why that is. However, if that's the case, then you really don't need to reach 1,000 degrees or put 1,000 degrees into the solid that you want to change the anatomy of through the heat that you're putting into it. You just need to put the heat into it, into the right places within the solid. It's not really about how many places you affect as much as it is that you find the right places to put your heat particles into. Not every section of the interior of a solid or a rock is the same. So this is why that's the case. You can just simply take a candle or a set of candles with their flame and put the candle flame into rocks, and just do that over and over. And over time, more and more gas form heat particles will become trapped inside of the actual rock. The rock's interior crevices. You don't even need candle flames to produce the kind of flame that I'm referencing for this. You can actually use cheap lighters, Bic lighters or non-Bic lighters, any brand lighter, name brand or not, anything that produces heat or a flame that you can actually see. Stick it into the rock, and don't worry about making the rock thousands of degrees or hundreds of degrees when you do this. You don't have to for this to work. You just have to stick that in and continuously let it sit inside of the rock over and over and over for a long time. And slowly but surely, from doing this, the rock or rocks will become more transparent. Again, I've gone over why I gave the evidence of how this is true, about why this means that you're actually making the elements that are the transparent corresponding elements when they're transparent in their looks. I've already gone over why I've given the evidence on this channel, of course. But yeah, the problem is my argument originally is flawed in the way I pointed out today. So don't worry about getting a kiln or a torch or anything. You don't have to. If you want to, you can, because if you use those options, you can still get the same results. But if you want a cheaper alternative to get the same results, you don't have to. You could still produce the same results for cheaper with a candle flame or a lighter. And as long as you're getting those heat particles into the specific hidden interior crevices of the rocks, they're going to then those rocks will manage to hold on. The porousness of the interior of the rocks are very small. Porous holes, porousness pertains to the size of the holes of a substance, and with substances that are solid or stronger, the stronger they are, the smaller their holes. So therefore, all you really have to do is get them onto the smallest holes inside of the solids, and you could put in 100 for each of the smallest holes within the solid. You could do that within 10 minutes, but you'd have to do the same thing and after another 10 minutes and another 10 minutes and 100 every 10 minutes for it to start to slowly change and become more transparent. Now, when I said 10 minutes, that's only hypothetical. That's not actually accurate to how long it takes. How long it takes is specific and varies by the rock. I don't know exactly how long or precisely it takes, but for each kind of rock, but it won't take a lifetime, it won't take a year, it wouldn't take a month. At the longest, it would take a week. If you actually are consistently working on it on a daily basis, the longest it would take to have diamonds is a week if you follow this procedure. For those who actually believe in my arguments, which there are very few people who do who would watch this, do not attempt this. Leave it to me to do this project, because I devised it, and as such I'm better suited to do it. That's all I have to say in this video.